So my name is Sam Thiara. The way I would best describe myself is I have 5 core elements that guide and direct me. Leadership, story sharing, corporate community relations, student development, community do-gooder. These are 5 things that actually make up my foundation. As a result, I'm a speaker and storyteller, entrepreneur, lecturer, a blogger and a writer. I've also worked with and supported numerous nonprofits, about 45 over the last 20 years. Every single project that I work on has to hit my 5 core elements of leadership, story sharing, corporate community relations, student development, community do-gooder. That's in a conceptual way of how I would best describe myself. Somebody asked me a very good question. Well, the environment is ever changing and ever growing. There are particulars that actually stay the same, and that's the individual. Oftentimes what I've always said is that the story is really important of your business. Why did you do this business? Like, don't tell me because it's to make money. That's not the end result. I want you to tell me what it means to you, and that's what the action of the story is. Added to this is also just the whole understanding of what is your value proposition. In other words, what is the differentiator that makes you unique? And oftentimes when I ask people, what is your differentiator? What makes you unique? I love how they always say, I'm going to provide exceptional customer service. And I'm like, no, that's not a differentiator. That's what you're supposed to do. Tell me what makes you unique. And that's where your value proposition ties into your pitch or your story. And then that allows us to better understand and appreciate. If you believe in your product or service or idea, and if you believe in it, I'm going to believe in it as well. Gravitating towards these 5 core elements. Now, there's the traditional academic fields that provide you those theories and research. But then there's also other avenues that are, if you're looking at the business technology, entrepreneurship, they are much more organic as they're growing, even from an academic standpoint as well. So it's interesting to see that those fields are growing. I remember in what I teach, I always talk about the myth, the theory, and the practice. The myth is what we believe the world to be. Theory is logically, this is what should be. Practice is applying it to the real world, and as a result of that, then you actually get to see the application and how that works. So that's where I would say that you've got the traditional methods, those are great, but more and more what we're also seeing is this new wave of incorporating technology, entrepreneurship, and social entrepreneurship, and applying it into the real world. And I correct them on how the whole emotional intelligence piece, you really have to understand who you are as an individual, manage your emotions, understand the emotions of the people around you, and then managing their emotions, and that's really tough. Understand who your stakeholders are, your customers, understand the people you're working with in the industry. There's a huge emphasis on really understanding the groundwork that I talk about. That's significant. I walk around and I ask the question of my students, do you have a brand? I think GSS provides a valuable tool and perspective for individuals who want to pursue the entrepreneurship route. Because you blend the aspects of being an entrepreneur with real life application and bringing in guest speakers, I think that opens up the avenue and it allows people to see different perspectives and understand different perspectives. So a program that's built along the lines of here's the coursework, here's the tools to help you build it, but here are also some people that can provide you insight, I think is valuable. Innovation is where you become creative and try to disrupt something that is pre-existing. You can always see that there are things that are happening around us, and people will say, well, that industry is overused, or there's nothing new in this industry. I would argue that no, that's because we're only looking at from those parameters. Innovation and creativity go hand in hand, and you need both in order to find the scope and expand into horizons which you didn't even really realize.